Hey, what's up, everyone? Episode 30 of the Hyperbolic Time Chamber Podcast. We fit 15 days of content within an hour. Tonight, I'm your host, Jeffrey, along with Vu and Ron Kauanoe. But tonight is a bittersweet episode. This possibly could be the last episode of the HTC Podcast. To be continued. Podcast over. Just kidding, guys. But anyways, the podcast is going on an indefinite hiatus. We possibly could be back as soon as next week or beyond or in a month or whatever. But it's been an amicable decision. I hope I said that right. It's always have trouble with that one. Amicable. I think that's the perfect word to depart the podcast. We have a lot of things going in our life right now that we need to have the free time from the podcast to, let's say, pursue. For example, I got a new job that I'm starting training in a week, so it'll be good for me to focus completely on that for the training and everything. And then I'm sure Ron and Vu have their own things ahead of them as well, and I wish them the best. So, but without further ado, let's just get to the podcast, baby. So, how you guys doing?
Good.
Solid.
A little sad about the ending of it,
I know,
but
a little bittersweet, but we'll see you, Space
Sometimes.
Cowboy.
yeah, we'll still be around.
For sure. And then it's not impossible if we ever get back together too. So don't hope on it, but it's never impossible.
Yep. So, like Jeff said, each of us have new things that are coming up in our lives. So, we have always appreciated everybody tuning in every week. But as of right now, we have conflicting schedules due to all these different changes that are happening. Like Jeff mentioned, he got a new job. I myself have other personal things that are coming up, personal projects, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Vu, he also has some personal things going on, got some personal stuff that he's dealing with as well. So all these things kind of are intersecting at kind of a moment's notice. It's been, you know, uh in it's been coming the last couple weeks. So yeah, we just wanted to let you guys know, like Jeff said, you know, as far as the podcast goes, it will be unfortunately not ending, but it'll be going on a hiatus. So it'll be like, your favorite season of your favorite anime that only has maybe one or two seasons. We're leaving it at one season right now, but yeah, might come back later on. So it's one of those things where we have to kind of work out our schedules and see what works best given our new circumstances. But yeah, pretty much that explains everything. There's a little hint on some personal stuff I'm doing in this actual stream right now. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as what the status of the podcast goes. Vu,
Yep,
did you
for
want
sure.
to add anything?
Yeah, just wait for the 5-year time jump. You'll see us
Mm-hmm.
anime style.
Yep.
Yeah,
For sure.
we'll
For
see.
sure.
I mean, I know if you guys give me the reins to potentially, if I want to make future episodes for like a season 2, if I could find, I have plans as soon as next week, but there's no guarantees.
Nice.
But as us as a group, like together now, that's very just indefinite. Like obviously, if we all want to group back together, we'll definitely come back together and do a weekly episode series again. But going forward, if I were to make any episodes on my own with like some guests or friends or even you guys once in a while, it's going to be like very sporadic. It might be like once a month, once a year, potentially once a week, once in a while if we find time. But and it'll be totally different format. Like if we're gonna do a season 2, I feel like it'll be something a little bit different than we normally did in season 1, but still at the heart of the original format. So definitely look forward to that. But definitely, why don't we start with? You guys want to talk about the Tokyo Game Show or the big news that Microsoft dropped with Bethesda's purchase from Microsoft?
Yeah.
More interesting to talk about.
Yeah,
Let's
there's
go,
so much stuff.
Let's
actually.
go Microsoft stuff. So
Yeah.
Microsoft? Okay.
yeah,
We can do that.
like last week we were already talking about, what was it, the launch of the PlayStation 4, and we were talking about all those pre-orders that were happening, and then we were talking about Microsoft and what their plan was. and what they were planning on doing for their pre-orders. So all these things happened, and that also led into the topic of Microsoft buying out Bethesda. So this all happened within a week, right before, or actually that Monday morning, right after we recorded the podcast. It was pretty crazy because we were talking about, okay, PlayStation
Yeah, it happened
4,
like the
what's the
next
price
day.
gonna, yeah, what's the price gonna be? You know, Microsoft, how many allocations are they gonna get? Yada yada yada. And a lot of the stores basically, we thought PlayStation, it was kind of we know it was gonna be tight. We knew it was gonna be tight this year because 10 million
Mhm.
units worldwide um before the end of 2020. That was their projected number. Um if you guys haven't heard, that pre-order went up, it went live, literally sold out within 5 to 10 minutes because some retailers leaked it ahead of time. So we were wondering what Xbox was going to do. So a couple days went by, Microsoft had their pre-orders. That was also horrible as well because that following Tuesday they were launching their pre-orders, and they're taking jabs at PlayStation saying, "Oh, we'll let you know when our pre-orders go live." A lot of the retailers basically got less than half of the allocation that PlayStation did. So they had about 2 weeks worth of time to basically get all these retailers stocked up, or basically good allocations of Xbox Series S's and Xbox Series X's. But they ended up only giving about half. So if, say, the reservation total was 10 for PlayStation, Microsoft only gave 5. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it was pretty rough for Microsoft as well.
That
In
makes it
addition,
even worse for them, doesn't it?
mhm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. I thought there
Yeah.
would be more, but being less, that's
Yeah.
pretty insane.
Yeah.
I'm surprised by that.
Yep. And that's the crazy part we were talking about too, because that Monday morning after we recorded the podcast, they drop a bombshell letting everybody know that Bethesda is literally Microsoft property now. They acquired ZeniMax, which owns Bethesda, and that's basically the parent company of Bethesda. So that's the creators of the Fallout, or technically the people that worked on the Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 stuff, the people
Mm,
that own Elder Scrolls and that IP. So it was a big, big, big announcement Monday morning. So everybody was, sort of in a fritz. All the games journalists were talking about, hey, oh my goodness, this is big
yeah,
bombshell news. And of course, the next day they had literally their Series S and Series X pre-orders go live for all the retailers. So it was pretty crazy to see all this stuff happen within like a 2 to 3 day span. So
Mhm.
yeah.
yeah,
Trying
it
to
was
get that
insane.
gamer clout.
Yep.
My question is to you guys for that though. Do you feel like, well, first of all, I did hear that, Phil Spencer, he seems to want to keep it to be able to be play anywhere type of mentality. He said that
Mhm.
Bethesda titles may not be exclusive to just Xbox or PC console, but they could come
Like,
at maybe a later date. So maybe they're just like time
Timed
exclusives and
exclusive.
certain exclusives.
yeah.
So that's a good mindset. Definitely doesn't want
It,
to limit the sales of their games. But
yeah.
that's a big purchase for Microsoft. Personally, I
Mhm.
feel like that they are not going to do too much with the franchise. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm saying with the company, because when you look at everything they acquire, or Ninja and things, kind of just looking at their track record, they kind of just buy out a lot of companies, or even personalities like Ninja and Shroud, and kind of didn't really go anywhere with it. But hopefully they don't do that. Like I know EA in the past bought out a bunch of studios like BioWare, and we look at what happened to them with Anthem and stuff like that. So hopefully it doesn't become a catastrophe like we've seen in the past, where companies being acquired by a big entity like that. But I wanted to know your guys' thoughts on it. Why don't we start with you, Vu?
It's a pretty. I think the timing of which they bought it was probably the best timing they can have, because
Mm-hmm.
definitely will
They need
put more
something.
people onto the Xbox. And even
Mm,
though their main focus is in selling consoles, this definitely is going to help boost console sales, at least for the future. Right now, like you said, it may not be exclusive, but who knows what they'll do with it in the future. And it's a great way to battle against PlayStation, who has already so many single player exclusives. This gives them a bit of a fighting chance, since
exactly.
Halo is on delay. So
Yep. Exactly.
it's a lot of. I think it's a lot of things they're doing right.
Mhm.
I do. I mean, I honestly don't care if they make their games exclusives because most of those Bethesda games I would play on PC already.
Yeah, it doesn't affect me
So
as
it
well as that.
doesn't affect me. So I don't care.
I
It's
think
cool.
that's
I
why it's a
like it.
perfect harmony. Because if PlayStation
Yeah.
bought them out, and those titles, well, a lot of PlayStation titles are still going for PC,
Mm,
but if they did buy them out, which they don't really have the money to, they would just keep it on console, knowing them. But I think
right.
it's a good marriage
Yep.
to be with
But
Microsoft.
do you think they would leave their games like don't put it exclusive just so that way they don't at least lose money from making they would be making money off the competitor in a way? So you think it'd be better to be exclusive or no? Money wise anyway.
No, I don't think so. Time exclusive seems to be what Phil Spencer
Yeah.
was talking about. But
Mm,
I think exclusives have slowly been dying. I mean, it's
right.
not really been even a kept secret that many of these, games that used to be exclusive back in the day, like we used to associate Final Fantasy with Sony. We used to associate Resident Evil with Sony, and they still at the heart like being on a Sony console because people are nostalgic of that fact. But now you look at those titles and many other used to be exclusive to console titles. Now they're just called console exclusives because Final Fantasy 16 is actually coming out for PC. So we're seeing less and less exclusive, which is better for consumers, to be honest.
Yep. And to add to that, Vu and Jeff,
Mm.
like Jeff said about the time exclusive, and how Vu said this was a very smart move. This is giving Xbox a fighting chance about, taking on PlayStation with all their first party studios, all the in house basically studios that they've acquired. They basically have more IPs that they can throw out to people that want single player experiences, people that want multiplayer. So they kind of cater to each individual sort of audience, whether it's single player or multiplayer now. So if you have Skyrim, or basically the Elder Scrolls series, generally that's a single player experience. You have stuff like um, basically, uh, who bought out Rocket League? Was that EA?
Um, uh,
I didn't hear
is it
about that
EA?
one. I'm not sure.
I'm not
Was
I
it
sure.
was it
forget.
Epic Games or something, or I don't know.
Oh, no, it was Epic. It
It
was
was
Epic
Epic.
Games.
Okay, cool.
I
Because
scratch that. I take that back. But they have multiplayer experiences with Halo, things like that. So you
Mm,
have a plethora of options that you can now play on Xbox. And to be honest, this was a very, very strategic business move by Microsoft because with this, they have that ability to kind of um, basically take on Sony with these single player game studios and these single player games while Halo is being finished up. Unfortunately, Halo Infinite is delayed, so we are hoping that basically the um, these IPs that Bethesda puts out will basically take the place of Halo while Halo is being finished up. And they've already said that it's going to be available day one on the Game Pass, which is very incredible. I love that idea. That basically, I don't care where you play it mentality. You play it on PC, you can play it on Xbox, but the big overall question or the big overall theme is you can play it on Xbox first, and that's what I like to see from Microsoft. Of
yeah.
course, the smart move would, of course, be licensing it out to other companies, Nintendo and Sony, so that way you can make a little change off of their sales as well as basically owning the IP. So you make a little change off of everything that they sell plus the copies that you sell. And you have that exclusive time content bonus, which is awesome. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. That is a very, very cool thing, and this puts them right in the running, I think, with Sony for next gen at least. So I'm seeing it about even just because there's a bunch of exclusive titles. They've already said Final Fantasy 16, of course, is
Hmm.
console exclusive, but that could come to PC later on. But this, um, basically, I would say the Elder Scrolls series is kind of on par with popularity as Final Fantasy
Yeah.
in
Western
yeah,
culture for
people
sure.
still
Western
mod
culture,
Skyrim to
basically.
this day and
So
buy GPUs for that game that came out like 2011.
So
Hmm.
it's pretty cool to see, Xbox kind of putting up a fight against Sony because that, like I said, last podcast, that Sony press conference was incredible. They showed a lot of things. They had a lot of stuff going for them. And I'm just super excited now for the next generation just because we're getting so much good stuff. We're getting stuff that might be exclusive to one platform. Some stuff might be exclusive to other platforms. It's just going to be crazy. I just want to see how these sales numbers go.
Yeah, I mean, to add to that though, like for sure, like Microsoft's been doing that just just recently within this past year when they released, let's say, they released Phantasy Star Online 2, and that game is doing very well on PC and making a bunch of money, and it came out on Xbox first, so I could see something like that happening with a Bethesda game. Perhaps the game might come out on Xbox first for at least like the first month or so, and then it could be probably pushed back a little bit for PC. A lot of developers have been doing that for a lot of games in the past years. Preferably, people would like a launch both on the Xbox and the PC, but I could see that if they wanted to release it a bit earlier by a few months, it could be Xbox first. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. There's totally a lot of to like about it for even just someone who just likes gaming in general. I like that more ways to kind of competition between the companies, and we're always kind of getting better results as consumers.
Yep, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I think Microsoft is gonna, if they were to acquire anybody next, like I would assume a lot of people. I heard a lot of people say they would assume like Sega.
Oh yeah,
crazy.
That'd be
That would be
sick.
great. Yeah, and that would be perfect because since they have a pretty good hold in the Western market, and they're really terrible in the Eastern market, I feel like Sega with IPs like what is it, Persona,
Bro,
Yakuza,
Persona, Sonic,
so-
Yakuza.
That's a good segue because I just said Phantasy Star.
Yeah.
So Sega
Phantasy
IP, yeah.
Star, exactly. All these games, and they're trying to build like their Eastern culture now, which is gonna, because
The weed
China,
culture.
Japan, that's where the money is. So that's only the next step.
Yep.
Speaking
That'd
of
be
that,
crazy.
there's a game that just came out, Genshin Impact. That's a free to play.
Literally about to talk about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Go ahead. We're on the same
No,
wavelength.
yeah. I was about to say that it just came out today,
Mm-hmm.
and I was about to download it on my phone, but it's on everything and it's cross-platform, iOS, Android, I believe, Switch, and PC, and then PS4 as well, I think.
Yeah, I have
don't
it
know
on
why.
my phone, and I'm actually downloading it as we speak in the
Nice.
background.
Nice.
So yeah,
Yeah,
that looks
but
like
it's
an excellent
crazy.
game. Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's basically anime Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That's why it really attracted me with it. I mean, definitely we should, since it's free to play, we could potentially try to play it together. I think it's up to 4 players. It's a weird game. We'll briefly talk about. It's single player, but it's multiplayer. It's not really an MMO. It's a gacha game. It has sort of an identity crisis, but from what I've read from YouTube personalities and listened to what they said about playing the beta, they said that it's an excellent game, and so I'm confident in it being solid.
Yeah. But
Down to give free to play games a try.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, but speaking of like, Japanese games appearing more on American-based consoles, aka the Xbox.
From Sega,
that would have been insane to see a American company buy up a Japanese company and basically acquire them. So I honestly, it could go both ways. Like Jeff was mentioning, Microsoft does have a tendency to buy up studios. But I would think better than EA. EA kind of does that thing where they go in, they buy a studio or acquire studios, and they kind of put the EA spin on it, and it ends up backfiring on them.
kind of, yeah.
I think Microsoft,
like a Death Note.
Yeah. Microsoft basically acquires them, so they give it almost like a Disney sort of money budget. And they're like, hey, we'll bring you in-house so that way we can put our label, our name on it. We'll put your studio on there still. Basically, we'll keep everything the same almost, but, we're going to give you some more funding, but you have to make stuff exclusively for us. And, I honestly think with these other studios like Ninja Theory, the guys that make Forza, literally Forza was it was a close third party studio, but they finally acquired them officially. But Forza's never been on a platform other than Xbox, so it bringing studios in-house, I think with Xbox, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just I think it's like a Disney acquiring Marvel and Star Wars kind of franchise. Of course, Star Wars, give or take, that's, depends on who you talk to. But I think what they do is they basically provide a lot more funding. So that way these games could be a lot greater. And then, of course, the turnaround is it appears on Xbox consoles first. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's honestly going to be a good thing. And even if they did it with Sega, having Persona 6 potentially on Xbox Series X and the S, that would be
Ooh.
crazy.
On
People
PC?
would go, yes,
Oh
Yeah.
my
people
god.
would go crazy for it.
The way they handled, because there's no Persona game besides Persona 4, and they looked how well Persona 4 sold. So definitely, if there is a Persona 6 in the works, which I'm sure there is, yeah, it would be really exciting. I mean, not to mention Sega being, let's say, probably inclined to being bought out by Microsoft, but I know that there's another. I read an article that there was a Japanese developer. I forgot the name, but they make gal girl games or gal gun games or whatever, and those are kind of a little like raunchy. And then the thing about it is that they're probably not going to be on Sony because Sony is way too censor heavy. So that's why they'd rather be on Xbox. So Xbox could surprisingly be the console for Japanese games that people like myself love.
Uncensored Japanese games.
Yeah, uncensored, because a lot of people are, they want the pure experience from Japan. They want that the pantsuits or whatever, the strawberry pantsuits. I don't know, the extra pixels.
Honey
yeah.
Pop baby.
Yeah, Honey Pop uncensored. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, I could see why they would want to probably side with Xbox if their censorship is very more lenient, and it definitely is. Look at Phantasy Star Online 2. Any people who play Phantasy Star Online 2, that game is pretty uncensored. That game is, I would say, closely almost should be R-rated on some of the sexual themes that people do in that game. But that's anime like lifestyle. That's that weeb culture. That's that waifu culture, and then that's what people love, and that's why Phantasy Star Online 2, the American release, is doing so well.
Yo, for real? Like what are we talking about? Like hot coffee?
They're not doing like anything like naked, like rated, like adult. But you see like the dancing and the skins you could get for the female characters. It's pretty raunchy. It's pretty weeby.
What?
It is crazy, that game. So that's why people are saying with the new Genesis, the new Phantasy Star coming out in a year, they're like saying, is this game going to be as horny as PSO2 was? I'm like, yeah, because PSO2 was already pretty like, whoa. I wouldn't want my 10-year-old really playing that game type of thing. But yeah, for sure.
Like
especially with it is. It's pretty anime, very anime, let's say.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's pretty interesting. We're talking like Kill la Kill, like
ecchi,
level?
like ecchi level, yeah, just ecchi.
Okay, ecchi.
Pretty ecchi.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check out
Yeah.
PS2 then.
Nothing to be embarrassed about, You can't appreciate Opie once in a while, I guess.
Yep.
But yeah, it's definitely a fun time. People are hilarious on that game.
Oh. I'm gonna have to check that out, man.
I've been telling you guys play with me. It's still gonna be serviced even when the PSO2 new Genesis comes out. The worlds are gonna coexist, and certain things are gonna cross over between both games. So cool. That reminds me of like a Sword Art Online type of thing, where when you watch that anime, a lot of like Kirito's abilities kind of pass over because they're all from like the same structure of the Nerve Gear MMO. So it's pretty cool. Something like that. Nice. Yeah, go on.
All right. Let's see here. Well, since earlier you brought up, what is it? Marvel? Disney buying Marvel. Do you guys remember how much that was exactly?
It was
like 4
a lot.
Something like that.
See. I'll check it right now.
I think it was some 4 billion. To me, do you guys feel like the 7 billion they spent is worth it compared to something like Marvel, like where they only paid 4 billion? You're paying 7 billion for Bethesda, who I guess they're pretty well known, but not as well known as Marvel.
Yeah, you said 7 billion?
I think it was like 7 billion. How much they paid for them?
So it's probably equivalent to like Bethesda being bought out by Microsoft. You're saying? I think it was 7.5 billion. 7.5 for Bethesda being bought out, yeah, and they bought out.
Jeez.
Yeah, I think they bought off another studio too. That includes another studio, but I forgot that studio's name.
My dog going crazy. To me,
Microsoft
I feel like the
flexing.
only games there that's worth it is like Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and Doom. Like the other
Oh
games are
yeah,
cool, but they're not. I feel like you don't need to spend 7 billion on those like extra
Mhm.
IPs.
I mean
That's pretty crazy, though.
they kind of need it, I guess. I mean, look at Sony; they have a great in studio game developers. So, like you guys
True.
were saying, they're trying to even out the playing field.
Mm-hmm.
hmm I think this is the second biggest acquisition in video game.
What was the
Crazy.
first?
I think it was like some 10 cent. I don't know. They bought some
Oh,
game.
okay.
I
Oh,
don't know what they
10 cent
bought.
buying League of Legends Holy.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. I
Yeah.
don't remember. Something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So I looked up the numbers. Marvel got bought out by Disney for $4 billion. So Microsoft spent an extra $3.5 billion to acquire ZeniMax, which is the parent company of Bethesda, which
I
is
think,
incredible.
yeah, it's
That is, I
crazy.
didn't know that much. I thought it was million. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Geez, billion with a B. I was like, ooh,
This
okay.
this just
Yeah.
throws me back on
Crazy.
one of our first few episodes when we talked about how the video game industry is bigger than the music industry, than the movie industry, all combined.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it makes sense that they bought them out, and it costs almost double the price than Disney buying Marvel. So
Yeah.
I mean, they're looking at profits here. They're looking at some big money.
Yeah.
I also heard that EA Origin is supposed to be coming to Game Pass as well. They're supposed to be working on something with them.
Yes.
Mm.
EA.
So
Yeah.
they're collaborating with everybody.
Yeah, no, so they've got EA technically now, and they have Bethesda, and
Mm.
all their stuff is going to be on Game Pass, which is cool because Game Pass is,
Dang.
that's an insane thing that they've already been trying to push, and they've
Dude.
already been successful. Now you're going to have even more. It's literally you're going to have even more
hmm
games to play on Game Pass if you have Game Pass for PC, if you have
Yeah.
Game Pass for Xbox. It's gonna be insane. It's literally gonna be
Dude.
insane.
It's
So,
perfect for all the sports people because they don't have to buy the same game year after year. Just
mhm,
do the subscription,
mhm,
you get the new game. Boom.
yep.
Yeah.
And all the Need for Speed stuff, that's gonna be
hmm
first to, you don't have to buy Need for Speeds anymore if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Like we said, Skyrims, those are the Doom technically is part of that too.
Doom. Yep.
Wolfenstein, Dishonored, all
hmm
that stuff is literally gonna be available day one for Game Pass, and you only pay 15 or $30 or whatever,
Yeah.
$100 a year. And it's going to be incredible to have all access to that. So that puts Xbox in a very good position going into the next generation.
What makes
So
Yeah.
Game Pass even a better deal, and I'm sure you guys probably heard of it. You remember where you could just upgrade to Game Pass for just like $1 for the month? And I've done that probably 2 or 3 months when they offered me that deal. But if you have existing, I don't know if it still works, but I think it still does. If you have let's say if you have Xbox Live Gold, 3 months, or I mean 3 years stacked, if you just upgrade to Ultimate for $1, that would convert all that into Ultimate Game Pass, apparently, from what I've heard. I'm not sure if that's
Mm.
still a thing, but you could get, you know, the Game Pass for really cheap if you buy, let's say, Xbox Live Gold year passes ahead of time. You bought them on sale, and then upgrade to Ultimate Game Pass for $1 if they give you that deal, and then transfer all your existing Xbox Live Gold time to Ultimate Game Pass time. That's a insanely good deal.
so it converts
Mhm.
basically all. So say you had 5 years worth of
Mhm.
Live, it converts that 5 years into Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, if you're offered the
Straight
$1
over?
upgrade, yeah, straight over.
Wow,
Because I know
I
people
didn't
have been
know that.
doing that for the longest time. It's kind of a weird loophole. I think Microsoft knows about it, but they don't really care because they want people to be on their service anyways. And they figured
Yep.
if you like it, you're gonna tell your friends and stuff like that. So either way, they're making money
About that.
because
Yeah.
people are buying the Xbox Live Gold. So they'll take the loss
Smart.
if it's gonna grow the platform for it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's still a thing.
But well, the thing for stuff like that, especially if you're playing games on that platform, once you start saving your games on that platform, once you're done with that membership, or whatever, you're still gonna want to play it. So
It locks you into the ecosystem.
you're locked in with
Mhm.
this with your saves. You can't take the saves on something else.
Yeah,
I feel
especially
like
at
that's what
Skyrim.
gets you.
I
like a-
see.
You
I
know,
wonder, are they going to lock the game saves that are basically on these games that you play on Game Pass behind that
yes,
paywall? or is it
Yeah.
locked?
You're not gonna
Unless
be
you
able to
just buy the
transfer your save
game.
to PlayStation
Yeah.
or whatever.
'Cause I think you could buy the game at a reduced price if you have Ultimate Game Pass as well, right? That's one of the perks.
That's what I was
You
thinking.
can do that. You could do
you know,
that.
So you could
if
keep the
if you
license.
like the game, exactly. So if you like the game enough, then basically that's gonna suck, because what if you're like, oh, I wanted to try this game out. Oh, I ended up liking it. Oh wait,
Mm.
why is my save? I bought the game physically. Why is my game locked behind this Game Pass? That's where, do not go
Yeah.
into that territory,
Yeah.
Microsoft. Please,
That's a
please,
touchy territory.
you guys are literally, hitting home runs right now. Just keep going at it. Just keep going at it. But I think, honestly, Microsoft, they wouldn't do that. I think they, if you bought the copy of the game, that they'd be like, all right, cool, here's your save data, whatever. So
It
but
depends on the developer, because we talked about Genshin Impact. I read that let's see, that it's crossplay between all, let's say, mobile, PC, and PS4, but it's not cross save with PS4 to the other platforms. For some reason, again, a Sony limitation or whatever, they wanted to keep people on their console. They don't want
Right.
you to, let's say, transfer your PS4 Genshin Impact account over to PC or vice versa. They just want to keep you on PlayStation. So that sucks. So hopefully Microsoft, I'm pretty sure Microsoft won't. They always advertise the Play Anywhere, and I believe most of their first party titles are cross save between PC and Xbox. So I wouldn't be too worried about it, but we'll see.
Yep.
What about if you guys wanted to move on to the next topic? We wanted to talk about possibly a bit of Nvidia, if you guys want to dab into that, because there's some really big kind of controversy that's been going on though with that. Since we were talking about a little about PC there, have you guys heard that the 30 series cards are having a lot of crashing issues? And then it's been reported that most likely it is actually a hardware issue. So we'll be knowing more information in the future coming forward, but that is a really big blow to Nvidia, and it kind of just kills the hype for a lot of people with the 30 series cards. But what are your thoughts about that, Vu?
Did they put out a recall for it, or is this
No, they haven't. They're totally silent right now. They don't want to.
Oh, really?
And the reason being is because remember when we talked about it last week, a lot of the people didn't get their hands on this card. A lot of bots got their hands on this card, but people are slowly getting the cards. Maybe they're buying it from eBay overpriced, and they're playing with these graphics cards. And every time when the graphics card boost clocks to like 2,000 megahertz, whatever the boost clock is, it would crash into desktop every time. All the cards, so not even updating your drivers or anything. And these are across all the models of the 3080 series cards. And then
these are Founders Edition, though, right? These aren't aftermarket.
Aftermarket as well, because they all have the same PCB power chip, whatever that's in it. And then if you go on YouTube, all the tech reviewers are talking about it, and a lot of sources are pointing that it's looking like a hardware issue, and we could be seeing potentially a word from Nvidia at some point to address it. It could be a recall. I would assume, because it sounds like a hardware issue from the videos and sources I've seen about it. But it's kind of terrible that people who picked it up, or especially if they've overpaid for it as well on eBay. And we were saying last week, like, wait, all these hardware issues will get kinked out, panned out throughout the year or the next revision and things like that. And also, prices will be cheaper. There'll be more stock of them as well. And it looks like Nvidia probably cheaped out on some certain part inside the cards to, meet these great prices and rushed them out a bit. But, COVID strikes again. I mean, I'm sorry, 2020 strikes again. It's a little bit of a bummer. So I wanted to hear you guys' thoughts about that.
That is really disappointing, especially as somebody who just spent, you could be spending $500 to $700 on this graphics card to know that it's just gonna be a brick. Like, that sucks. I feel bad for that. But that's why I never buy new stuff. I always wait for a few revisions just to make sure everything is gonna be tip top. Because, like, same thing with the PlayStation, and Xbox. Just because they're the new thing, you don't know. Once you get them, you could get a new red ring or some kind of weird disaster.
Yep, exactly. And you look at the history chart, there's always some sort of problem with, let's say, launch consoles. I mean, Nintendo's still dealing with the drift problems on their controllers, and they've gotten sued for it and things like that. So crazy. Hopefully, I mean, keep our fingers crossed. Hopefully the Like when the consoles, come into everyone opens them up for Christmas, or the Xbox Series X, or things like that. That people will be happy, or people will be disappointed because they got the Xbox One X, which is like, did you guys? I sent you guys a link about that. Did you know that people were confused?
Yep.
People
That's
bought
surprise.
Xbox. We
We
talked about
were
the names being
laughing.
confusing. You hear it first here.
Microsoft
Yep.
always making things more difficult than it needs to be. Come on, grandma, grandpa trying to buy your stuff. Make it
Yeah.
easy for them.
I'm sure they could get a refund, but hopefully they're not holding on to that till Christmas and they out of their window.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. I thought that was kind of funny because we were just talking about it too. People just, a big spike in Xbox One X consoles. They thought it was the Xbox One Series X. So crazy. So I'm pretty sure you guys. I mean, I'm pretty sure Ron's. Well, going back to Nvidia, I'm pretty sure Ron's pretty glad he probably didn't pick up a 3080 now.
I'm glad, but I'm also sad just because
Yeah,
I
'cause you
wanted
didn't
a
want the
secure
card.
one.
Mhm.
I want the card, but at the end of the day, I didn't have a chance, so I was like, all right, cool, whatever. And of course, Asus or Asus, however you pronounce it, literally they didn't even launch their stuff, so I was like, okay, cool. I wasn't gonna get the Founders Edition. That's fine. Let me wait for Asus, and I'll just wait because I didn't want to invest in like MSI or anybody else. Of course,
Yeah.
MSI. Nothing against those brands, but I just wanted to. If I were to pick up something that wasn't by Nvidia, it would probably be Asus or Asus, however you
Or
want to
EVGA
pronounce
is
it.
good too.
Yeah, EVGA. Yeah, that's a good solid card too. Good
MSI
brand.
and Gigabyte are not too bad, but I normally don't get them.
Yeah. So,
But
but I
I mean,
mean,
there's always
it
a
is what it is.
3070, but I
Yep.
feel that's going to be even harder to get because that's the more obtainable card.
Yep, that's more
in price.
obtainable, and literally people that already missed out on these two graphics cards, they're going to go for that third option, no matter what. And I mean, honestly, at this point in time, I mean, I'd love to upgrade. If I get my hands on one, cool. If I don't, it's not the end of the world. I can wait. I'm not in a rush to build my PC. I want to build it for Cyberpunk, but I mean, if worse comes to worse, I could buy it on my PS4 and then just play it on there.
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be
So-
mostly the same experience, just not as
Mhm.
pretty.
Not as pretty, exactly. I'll probably go back and play it again on my PC once I get all my hardware in, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But not too stressed.
Different
But the one
playthroughs.
yep, multiple playthroughs for sure. But the one thing I do want to get, that's coming out about a couple weeks is the Oculus Quest 2. That's why I do want to build a rig, just so I can have that VR experience on my PC. Because with the Quest, I don't know, it's about maybe the Quest came out about a year and a half ago.
Yep.
Within that year and a half, they gave the owner the option to make that Oculus Quest, which is a all wireless portable VR,
Yep.
hardwired into your computer, so that way you can run it on your PC, which is such cool option. And like we were talking about it last time, it's going to be a very affordable, more affordable than the first one, which is super super cool. They have all the improvements and all the bugs that was reported in the first one. They've kind of worked out those kinks, and now we have Oculus Quest 2 coming in about 2 weeks, I believe, if I'm not
Yep.
mistaken.
Sounds about right.
So it's gonna be pretty cool.
My other brother works at
What is
Oculus,
the-
so he did launch the original Oculus headset and the Quest headset. Every time I talk to him or FaceTime him, he's always has like the prototype Quest 2. He's like working because he works at home now, like all
Nice.
Facebook and a lot of people do. But I like you said, it's a headset that is fully wireless, and man, it's freaking awesome, dude. Like I have an old Oculus Rift, and it's wired, and I'm pretty much tethered to my computer. So anyone looking to get it, for sure, check it out.
Yep.
Awesome
Yeah,
experience.
Ron, do you know how much it is? Right.
So it's actually like $199, and I think
Ooh.
$199?
I think
I
it's
think I
like,
saw that too.
I think it's like
Oh, damn.
$199 for the 64 gigabyte, and I think it's $299 for the what's that called? For the
That's really
actual for the 256, I think, or
Do they work
128
with PC
gigabyte.
too? They're just standalones, right, for mobile?
So they're standalones, but with that Oculus Link cable or whatever they have, you can hook it up and it'll be a wired VR headset.
Okay,
So,
so
like,
you
the
That's the
game
cool
depth-
part.
are the games downloaded onto the headset if you're
Yes.
not connected? Oh, okay.
I got
So
you.
it's
I
got its
got
own
you.
processor.
But then it acts like, say, it was a Bluetooth headset like I have right now. I can use it for my phone. It's wireless, cool. But if I hardwire technically my headset, it becomes a wired headset that I can use on my PC for whatever games that I want. I can use it to hear your audio. I can hear it to, in-game chat, basically all that kind
Cool.
of stuff.
It's so liberating, man. You could go to the
Yeah.
park.
Yeah, that's dope.
You just be like, how like one of the things if you're
Oh,
in
yeah, the
VR,
park.
you don't want to run into your furniture or something like that.
Yeah.
Most people's homes are a lot smaller, especially like in Japan or something like that.
Mhm.
So
Sure.
I bumped into things before in VR. I mean, people might be smashing their TVs. You could be at the park in an open field and be like, "Oh, what's up?" I mean, someone might
just
rob
punch
you
a little
though.
kid
I wouldn't
instead.
advise it. But yeah, maybe in your backyard would be safer.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool, man. Like I don't really touch VR as much anymore, but if it has like
Yeah.
support for games like VR chat or certain free to play VR games you
Yup.
can play online, those are actually
Mm.
pretty fun and hilarious to interact with people in a time of isolation that we're going
Mhm.
through here.
Yeah, that's a crazy price point. Like that's like anybody can get into it. Like that's good because before that stuff was like $1,000. No one could
It
afford
was
it.
like $1,000, then it came down to about 600,
Mhm.
500, and now I think it is. I want to say it's $199.99 and $299.
Hmm.
I believe
I
it's
might
so,
have to
yeah.
think about investing in one for myself if it's that cheap.
Dude,
Yeah.
this
Oh,
one,
I'll
that's
meet
why
you
I'm
guys in
hoping.
VR. Podcast in
Yeah.
VR. No.
I've only done VR legitly once, and it was a pretty mind-blowing experience.
Did you try Alan's Vive?
Yeah, I was at Alan's
Oh,
house. I
okay.
did the Vibe. That thing is sick. Oh my gosh, I did like, what is it, Super Hot VR? I did
I
the
love
Google
that game.
Earth.
Man.
Just Google Earth alone is insane. Like, yeah, I don't know. I would love to buy my own system.
I remember when it was just I only knew one other person or two other people that had VR when I had it for when I still have it for Oculus, but I played with Alan a lot. Like we would play so many multiplayer games like on VR. It was pretty sick, and we were like, man, I wish everyone else could have it so we could play with them. So maybe this is now the opportunity. You guys could get like
Yeah.
the Quest 2
Play some
VR headset.
poker online.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, man. VR. It's just a little bit a pain to set up, but if you have a wireless one, man, works playing like Beat Saber and stuff like that.
Right.
Be nice. Had the room to do it.
Sorry, I just corrected the price point. It's $299 and $399.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Not too bad.
so
still.
still
still
not
not bad.
bad. Not
Yeah.
bad at all. Yeah.
Right to
That's why I'm-
1,000? Sure.
Maybe you saw like the older model, like $199. Some retailers, because I think I saw that price point before. Might have been like the first model or something like that, being clearanced out or something.
Yeah. But that's pretty cool though. Like, having the Quest come in like $100 cheaper than the previous model, and it's got more. Because I was about to spend like about $400 just for
Yeah,
the
that's how much they are. Rift 2.
for the original Rifts or the Quest for the original Quest, and I was like, all right, cool. But now, literally, I can spend even less now and get more storage in there. They've got a bunch of extra stuff too, so it's pretty cool. So I'll be right.
We're all going VR. I mean, I would say VR is probably so much more popular now with how we're still with the world pandemic and things going on. VR could be a really attractive option for people right now. There's so many games in VR. Like you could do rock climbing in VR, which is kind of crazy, and a lot of different things. So,
Dude, I want to do the cycling. I want to hook up my bike to one of those cycling
Oh,
rigs and
yeah.
you can do it in VR.
cycling,
You can
yeah.
race against other people and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Ah, man, there's
Yeah.
so many possibilities. So many possibilities for sure. But definitely
did you
some.
see that the Nintendo DS is just got discontinued finally?
Oh
no
yeah,
more
it
being
did.
made?
That's pretty sad.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's lived like over 10 years, I think, at this point, right? The 3DS.
The DS? Man, that's
DS?
I have
No,
a lot of memories on
yeah.
that console. So many memories.
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
Yeah. I miss that thing. It was one of my first real legit Nintendo devices that I've used, like aside from when I was a kid on the Game Boy.
Hmm.
I love it. I'm gonna miss it.
My
Oh,
my
well.
bunny
Bye-bye.
Penny decided to join the podcast. There you go.
Hey.
But yeah, same here with I remember going to like elementary school. Okay, it's now it's a Nintendo podcast. I would have like Game Boy Color playing like
Yeah.
Pokemon Gold, and between the bus ride to school, I'd be playing, and I would get motion sickness. I can't play or look at my phone too long
really?
in a car, but I would still play, and I would be playing the Pokemon. I would have friends show me the duplication glitch back on that game back in the day. I'm like, oh crap, that's sick. Yeah, those were good times, just playing Pokemon in between bus rides to school and back home.
Yep.
For sure. What about you, Ron? I know you're the big Nintendo guy. You're wearing the shirt right now. But what are some of your memories of Nintendo portable consoles?
Oh, dude, I just picked up another Game Boy, the original Game Boy. I bought a lot of stuff literally not too long ago, maybe like 2.5 months ago.
Oh, nice.
Just all classic. I had Bubble Bobble, Tetris.
Ooh, nice.
Just a bunch of cool stuff. I actually picked up a Game Boy Advance with. Let me go grab it real quick. It's a weird, obscure Japanese game which looks super fun, and I'm actually really excited to just start it.
He's grabbing out the collection for us, chat.
Yeah, I miss my Game Boy. I remember being a kid playing that on the bus too.
Did you have the see-through? Did you have the see-through ones?
Not the purple one.
The clear one, the purple one. I had that one.
Atomic purple. Yeah, like that one.
Atomic purple. That was the best. I loved how Nintendo's always been a very colorful console. There we go. We got some Game Boy Color or Game Boy Color games. What is that? Is that
What's the name of the game?
Can't see it on your camera.
Damn, hold on. I'm trying to get it into focus. It's called Azure Dreams. Hold on.
Azure Dreams.
What's that? Konami. I see the Konami logo at least.
Yeah, it's Konami. Yeah,
it's good.
Dreams. Yeah, I picked that up recently for a really good price. So I was like, all right, cool. But no, it looks cool. I'm excited. That's back when Konami was solid and they were good guys, not evil corporation.
Pachinko.
Yeah.
Oh, Pachinko now.
Yep.
Yep. Speaking of Konami, though, did you guys hear that there is rumored to be a full remake, like Final Fantasy VII remake of Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 for the PlayStation 5 and PC, I believe. That is something that's going to be in development. It looks like it's very, very real from what I saw, and that'd be sick. Yeah, if it gets the Final Fantasy VII remake treatment. Oof, that's gonna be really good. I know they remade it back on the GameCube, which I have a copy of that one. It's all right. I don't like the revoices. The voice acting wasn't as great. The first time around when they recorded it on the PlayStation, that's definitely superior in my opinion. But yeah, it's crazy that they'll remake it again. I think let's get David Hayter back in there. Let's because I've missed him as Snake, and that was probably the reason why I didn't really like Metal Gear Solid 5. Was it Phantom Pain?
Gonna come back. I heard that him and Konami had some shit that went down, and they're not cool with each other like that no more.
Well, Kojima wouldn't be on the project, I would think. I think it's rumored to be a different developer, but I'm sure. I mean,
if they can do a Final Fantasy style and bring it back to life, I'd be down to play it, no problem. Like,
all you have to do is remake it. Yeah. They don't really need Kojima on it. I mean, it'd be nice if they could get Kojima to advise on it at least or something. But I don't think.
Follow the game. Just follow how the game.
Just follow how the game was. Yeah.
Don't change nothing. Give me new graphics, acting, and don't try anything dumb. That's it.
I mean, like Final Fantasy VII Remake was literally a whole new team, obviously, than the original. Besides having Tetsunora, he was just the art director, I believe, on the original. But he became the director, producer, I believe, on the remake. But they came out pretty well, even though they went to like a total different direction with the game. I actually like it. I like when remakes kind of do something a little bit different, but still keep intact with the core feeling of the game.
I liked, I still haven't played original Final Fantasy VII. But from what everybody has been telling me, I like the lore building and I like the world building of remakes. I am always down for more world building and more sort of lore building. I think Nomura, basically, he did such a great job is because he knew if he didn't, everybody would get on his ass about literally, why did you fuck up Final Fantasy VII Remake? All this basically stuff. People are already getting on him about technically Kingdom Hearts 3 and how he said, oh, hey, this is going to be the last of it. And then all of a sudden, you get sort of a spoiler alert, weird sort of ending that doesn't end. And then you have a DLC that comes out that basically is like a true ending.
Mm-hmm.
And even that is very obscure. So he got a lot of backlash on that.
Yeah, I played them. I would know.
So with Final Fantasy VII, that being a pinnacle for a lot of players, especially a lot of early Sony PlayStation 1 players getting into JRPGs, with it, definitely had a target on his back. And if you didn't do it right, then of course you'd hear a lot of backlash from all these people. So, I mean, I think it was a smart thing to keep everything, the same and just expand upon the existing world if they were to do that in Metal Gear. I think they could pull it off. Even Konami, being, as long as it's not microtransaction for every save or whatever they were doing in Metal Gear Survive, man.
That's what I'm most
Oh
worried
my
about.
god, that was.
That would
Go ahead.
ruin the game. Can you imagine? Oh, you want to use a box sneak? You got to pay an extra or something. Like
Yep.
some dumb like that.
Oh, you get a cosmetic box. Oh, you get a, oh, this
Nah.
one has tofu stickers on there, or
Like-
blah blah blah.
Is that what they did with
No,
Metal Gear Survive? That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
It was that much of a gotcha game, huh? That's
Yep.
crazy.
Yep.
Man, that's terrible. I mean, I didn't. Once that game came out, I had. It was so funny. When a new game comes out, there's so much press coverage. Literally, everyone collectively, the internet was like, "Let's not give this game any type of publicity." I never heard when that game came out. I never heard anything about it. Like, not even people covering it that it was bad. Not people covering it if it was any good or that it released. People were so on Kojima's side. Like, they're like, "Screw that game,"
Yeah, a lot of people blackballed that game just out of their own like personal bias.
Mm-hmm. And it was a terrible
Because
game too. Yeah. Interesting though. Yeah, because when that game came out, like normally when a game comes out, you see some sort of coverage, and like you said, they blackballed that game.
Yep.
Yeah.
This
I
is
would say so for sure.
so they have to go back.
For sure.
They have to go back to the roots. Remakes.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about remakes throughout this whole series podcast of season 1.
Mhm.
But
Did you guys play Sunshine yet?
Hmm?
Do you guys play Sunshine? The remake?
dude.
or whatever?
No,
barely
I haven't
played
picked it up. You guys picked it
64,
up.
dude.
Really?
I put it in after I was super excited to grab it. I popped it in. I literally played the first level of 64 again. Just speed run it through on my Switch after I was
Yeah.
done, and was like, I'm gonna stop.
Oh, you beat part 1,
but-
nice.
Yeah, because what I'm trying to do is I have my Switch, dude. Honestly, I need a new card for my my Switch Lite. I don't have any more storage, so I need to basically I'm waiting for a huge sale on a 200 plus gigabyte micro micro SD card, so that way I can start downloading stuff again. But that's the reason I haven't been playing my Switch Lite is I don't have enough space, and then I want to pop in technically I want to pop in the 64 or the Super Mario 3D All Stars in my Switch Lite so I can play with the D-pad. Because it feels good playing on the the Switch itself, but I would rather play on the Switch Lite just because it's ergonomic. It's more ergonomic, and also, just taking it on the go with me, it's a lot better on the Switch Lite, I think personally, than on my Switch, my normal one.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it feels a lot better in my hands, and that way I can do, all my sort of actions that I could do on an old school 64 controller. Basically on the Switch Lite, I'll just have the screen to go along with me this time. So, yeah,
That's the best thing about the Switch is its portability. They're playing their own game.
Yep.
A friend told me, I'm not sure if that rumor was true or not, that the next Switch or Switch Pro might actually just be only home console. Is that true? Have you guys heard anything about the new one?
That's the rumor that's That's the rumor that's going around, that basically the Switch itself will be a home console, the Joy-Cons will be separate, all the current existing stuff will work, of course, and it'll work on the home console as well, but they're going to revamp it. Apparently they're trying to find a fix for the Joy-Con drift.
Whole redesign then.
We'll see it. Yep.
So it's like a soft relaunch in a way.
Yeah, and it'll be a 4K, basically 4K native, maybe 1080 output. I don't know. So it's all rumors.
Probably 4K, probably at least upscaled. I could see that, and it'll probably be like what they do with the 3DS New when they revamp that system. Like there might be small enhancements to current games or exclusive content with very little, probably little to nothing, to be honest. But it's kind of weird that it's not going to be another. I guess because it won't cannibalize the Switch that's selling right now. And I think that's probably a really smart move, I guess, because it would just make people just buy both still. Like, well, I'll buy the Switch Pro. It's just mainly a home console, and people probably just care about that. And they'll still have the regular Switch and Switch Lite. So it's 3 different options, and that's like the perfect number to not confuse, like, consumers. So sounds like it could be true.
Yep.
Did you play since the remake?
I didn't play the remake, but I did play Sunshine on a GameCube back then. I don't think they added anything different, right? They just put like widescreen on it.
I played a little bit of 64, and it looks pretty basic. It doesn't look like there's anything.
Yeah, 64 looks like they didn't touch. I could see that they could enhance the GameCube games because those games actually look beautiful, especially if you put them on an emulator or something. Like, you could up-res those really good, and I'm pretty sure the textures are good. Yeah.
Honestly, Sunshine looks pretty good for an up-res widescreen.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
yeah, GameCube games look great.
Yeah, it does.
Like
it's
like
actually pretty
developers
fun to
always use
control.
like. Oh yeah, how was the controls?
The controls are still pretty good. Like, I think it's better than 64. 64 is a little bit, I don't know, maybe I'm just not used to that old style control.
Oh yeah, it's a little archaic probably at this point, but it did set the tone for like every 3D platformer. But yeah, if I ever pick up that collection, I wouldn't mind trying Sunshine again because I liked the first few hours of it, but when I got like halfway to the game or so, it just got pretty stale. And I've talked to a lot of people. They said about the same thing. It just didn't really keep their attention for a lot of people. But I love the music and the graphics in the game, and I love that it's trying something totally different. Like you don't see a Mario game that was that different at that point in time. Yeah.
Which is crazy because 64 was their first game, and they just went like in a completely different direction in their very second game.
That was the
which is super
mindset of
ambitious.
Nintendo. Look at Wind Waker too. Wind Waker was totally
Waker,
different art
exactly.
style and everything. But that actually
Always
panned
ambitious.
out pretty well. What were you about to say?
Yeah, I think that's one good thing about Nintendo compared to other systems. Like, other systems can play it safe where they aren't too worried. Even if they make games where minority of people may not like it, majority of people still love it. Like Breath of the Wild, I may not love it, but everybody loves it, and they took a big risk on it, and I think that's cool. Always appreciative of taking big risks.
Yep.
For sure. I agree.
And that's the thing with Nintendo. They always it's high risk, high reward, of course, but they are always pioneers in sort of new technology. Oh, Nintendo, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? 8 times out of 10, I would say 8 times out of 10, Nintendo is right. With the Wii, oh, why would you have some sort of wireless controller that you can wave around? That's not fun. Of course, the Wii selling over, I think it's like the 5th most selling console of all time. Oh, hey, why would you go to a handheld console? We don't need people. The original Game Boy, DS, 3DS, all of those are, top 10 best-selling console of all time. In addition to that, hey, with this, why not combine all these sort of things where it's a home and a hybrid console? Oh, okay, interesting. Now people are, of course, hyped up about it. People are thinking, going into that Switch launch, I remember they're like, all right, cool, after the Wii U's failure, Nintendo can kind of bleed. But, I always say that the Wii U walked so that the Switch could run. And all the groundwork that the Wii and the Wii U set up made the Switch that much more of a more successful sort of console just because they were testing things out that they hadn't done before. Some things worked, some things didn't, but a lot of the principles were there and they never gave up on those principles. So that's why the Switch is one of the, biggest selling consoles right now.
Yeah,
Hopefully
the
it's
Switch
one of the best selling consoles of all time.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
The Switch is definitely seems like a collection of all their ideas, and it's a bit polished up.
Yep.
The only thing I missed from the Wii U was like the 2-screen experience, and it was kind of more of an extension from the DS type of platform, but putting it on like, let's say, a console. So they definitely kind of brought the best of all their ideas and just made the ones that people enjoyed. And the portability was definitely one way to go because that's pretty much what kept it alive when the Wii U was terrible, the DS and 3DS. So. Nintendo's killing it.
Yeah.
Props to them for sure. But we are around the hour mark. Do you guys want to continue with anything else, or do you guys feel to wrap it up?
Good to wrap it up, if you guys are.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
perfect hour. That's pretty rare for us to do that.
Nice.
But I know you guys have things to do tomorrow, so we'll definitely wrap it up here. Chat, everybody that's been listening, thank you so much for supporting us. Again, we are on a hiatus on this podcast. We could be like a notorious monster. We could be like a rare Pokemon that might come out next week or a month from now, a year from now, and we'll see. We'll see you guys next time for sure. But why don't you guys shout out your tags before we go, and where they could find you? Go ahead, Ron.
Okay, for me, you can always find me here at Ron Kauanoe. And like Jeff said, it's been awesome having you folks tune in every week. For those of you that have followed us, thank you so much. We appreciate your support. Um, for this past 30 weeks, it's been awesome. Just getting to talk about stuff that we love normally to talk about and sharing our opinions with you. Like you said, like I always mention, without your support, literally, we're just three random guys talking to, each other on the internet. So it's pretty cool to have people, enjoy what we talk about and, agree or disagree. That engagement right there is the most important part for us. So it's really, really cool to have that. But yeah, like I said, things naturally, sometimes they have to come to an end. We're going hiatus, but for us going away as of right now, it's not goodbye forever. Like the title is, it's See a Space Cowboy. We might come back with a movie. I don't know. Live action series maybe later on. So we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just want to say thank you guys. We appreciate all of it.
For sure.
Go
Thank
ahead,
you
Vu.
guys. Go ahead, Vu. Having parting words.
Thank you to everyone that's stuck around and listened to us argue and bicker over video games and have fun with it. And it was cool. It was definitely a very unique and fun learning experience for me doing something like this because I never done anything over the internet or anything. So hopefully it'll help me with any future endeavors I might want to partake. So it was cool. Thanks for teaching me with you guys. I guess I don't know,
For
but you
sure.
guys teaching me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I enjoyed myself too. And then
Mhm.
maybe since we're using anime analogies, maybe we're gonna make a like a Boruto version of the podcast where our kids will take over and make new episodes. No, just
Oh,
kidding.
man.
But
That'd
yeah,
be funny.
that'd be funny.
Just
But
like anime, it could be like Ano-san, where literally we're waiting for the 4.0 Evangelion part for 10 years, so we might make a comeback.
yeah,
in
that
10 years or
rebuild
something.
project.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, or we might be like, hey, we're waiting for our second season to get renewed, and we haven't told you yet. So, yeah,
Exactly.
we'll see. We'll see. So,
Yep.
Well, I mean, if there's a second season, most likely I'll probably do a few episodes of it. But let's look at it as a spin-off of the podcast. It's gonna be totally different.
Okay.
So it's not
Yeah.
gonna be like anything kind of what we've been doing. But we'll see if that pans out. But other than that,
Nice.
it'll be interesting to see what going forward. We could use the break to pursue our other projects and
Mhm.
work. Give us the extra free time because this does take up a bit of our time to come up with what we want to produce for you guys as content. But we appreciate you guys hanging on for the ride.
Yep.
Again, it's definitely a CU Space Cowboy type of thing.
Yeah.
For sure. Anyways, my tag is here's Vu with the sad face. Hey, don't make me cry, bro. Yeah, you can find me at 350Z Time on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all that jazz. And go on, you guys.
Yeah.
Like I said, you can find me here. I'll be active. I got some stuff, like I said, personal projects in the works. So, yeah, stay tuned there if you guys are interested. So,
Sure.
Same here. Follow me, Will_F, the Instagram, Twitch, wherever else, and we'll see you guys again one day, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see you, Space Cowboy. Definitely, if you want to reach out to us, you could probably comment on YouTube if would be up there, or or messages in our DMs. And if you wanted to say, any parting words as well. But other than that, we'll see you guys later. See you, Space Cowboy.
Peace.
Peace.
bang.
Bang.